Welcome back, MACTFORDEDGE, and I have a PCM drain we're going to perform, and along with a throttle body relearn procedure to help you when you get done working on your transmission, and also what to do when you get done, have your battery disconnected and what your throttle body does. I have a before recording that you're going to see next, and then we'll jump into disconnecting the battery. Well, as you can see, this is the throttle body settings before I reset everything. So we got some good comparisons going here, and we can see our relearn procedures, our relearn trims, and everything that is in idle. Okay, now the engine is essentially hot. It's at operating temperature. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and disconnect this battery, and of course we're going to drain the PCM, and then of course we're going to keep these same settings, and again reconnect and everything, restart the engine, and then see where these trims are. But again, we got a good snapshot of where we're at, and of course we will then go from here and investigate what we got as far as the difference before and after, so you all can see exactly what the whole situation is with the throttle body once you disconnect the battery, and what you get when you reconnect the battery after you've drained the PCM. So let's go ahead and get that done. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off our radio. We're going to turn our climate control off and make sure it's off. Make sure our lights, everything is off in the edge. That way we have no accessories on, nothing plugged in, nothing running, and then that way when we go to turn it back on, we don't have to worry about that. So you double check everything, make sure everything is off, and just like I have here, everything is off. So we can go ahead, take the key out, and of course we're going to remove it just in case. So we're going to go ahead and now disconnect the battery. Okay, now that we got that done, we're going to go ahead and disconnect this battery, and all we're going to do is basically just undo this negative terminal, release it a bit here, wiggle it free, and then of course we're going to set it off to the side over here out of the way. But we're going to make sure that we of course have that in position. We're going to go ahead and clip these alligator clips here to help the discharge cycle a bit. So we get the clip on there, and then of course we get it over here on the positive, and we just let this set, and about 10-15 minutes. So I'll come back once we get this done. We're discharging the PCM, the entire system. It's going to discharge everything out of it, and then of course once that is done, after about 10-15 minutes or so, I'll be back, and then we'll go ahead and reconnect everything up and go through the whole restart and relearn procedure on what we need to do. Now, some of the situations we've been running across on the Facebook group and also in the YouTube channel here is folks are working on their TSS, OSS sensors, turbine shaft speed and output shaft speed sensors, and they're replacing them down here in the transmission on the valve body and everything, tearing things apart, disconnecting the batteries. But essentially they've disconnected the battery, hopefully when they're working on it, and getting everything done, because you pretty much got to remove the battery tray, I think, and to get more room, so you are disconnecting the battery. But you know, the thing is, we want to make sure that we give this whole PCM a discharge, and of course by doing this we're ensuring a discharge of all the capacitors. Disconnecting the battery won't do it. You got to have somewhat of a drain on the system, and by connecting these two alligator clips here to it, to the positive terminal and the lead disconnected from the battery, you are now sucking all the energy out of those capacitors, and they're discharging because they have power draw, they have resistance, they have to give that energy up. So that's essentially what is happening with this whole situation. And by doing this with these clips and everything, we wait, we discharge it. Now the computer, the PCM, of course, is sent a signal that, hey, everything has to start over again. I have got short-term memory loss, so I have to regain it. So that's essentially what's happening to it. Now the other thing is everything else is going to have to relearn. The throttle body is going to have to relearn. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to use our wonderful FORScan app and my OBDLinks MX to follow along what the throttle's done. And like I said, you've already seen what it was when it's hot running, and of course under its old settings. And then of course I will start it up and we will take it for a drive to see how it does as far as relearning and everything and adjusting itself to its throttle position. So we'll be able to see that real time using that app on FORScan, so you can actually verify what the computer is doing, how the engine is relearning, and everything else. So I think that'll be a very valuable part of this whole video. But that being said, we're going to go through this. I'm going to come back to you here in about another 5 or 10 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and reconnect the battery back up, and then go through the startup procedures and everything that we must do in order to get this throttle body to relearn, and of course our shift points, all dependent, as they say, from the throttle body as far as what's going on, because you got to have gas in order to have energy, and you have to have energy in order to turn the transmission. So it's all related to each other. So we're going to go ahead and get that done, and I'll be right back in just a second for you folks. Of course we are now done, so we'll disconnect these alligator clips and we'll get them off of there, and we'll reconnect our battery terminal back up, getting it seated down there good, and then of course tighten it back up. There we go. Got everything all hooked back up again, and we'll go ahead and get everything running that we need. Now, as you can see, everything of course is off, and we're going to go ahead and just turn the key on, and we're going to wait for everything to basically get itself situated. Let's see if I can shut the door here. This way we can get everything going. Okay, everything got situated, so turn everything off. Battery everything wanted to start up on me here. So we're going to go ahead and reconnect to our FORScan. Now we got the FORScan running, we're letting everything, and now we can see everything for the throttle body as we get everything, relearn procedures and everything else is going. We see the max differential is torquing out to 1 occasionally. So it's going to take about 15 minutes for this system to take and adjust itself. So we just got to let it sit here and idle, and of course follow along what it's doing. But we can watch and see how everything is, of course, adjusting itself. We got the relearn procedures and everything else. And right now we're sitting at 1.18. We're going to, of course, follow the throttle relearn trim and other things, because we got the relearn trims, TP1 and 2, that we got to see what's going on with those. And, of course, follow along as it relearns everything and runs in idle. So basically we're just going to sit here and wait and see what happens as time goes. And it looks like we got activity going on with the system. It's starting to go through its whole changeover here, and of course the trims and everything are maybe going to be relearning a bit here, but it might take a few minutes. The vehicle's been running for about 15 minutes now, so we're going to go ahead and give it a test run and watch how these fuel trims work out on here. Slowly backing out. I always love this camera. It's great when they work, isn't it? But anyway, we got our fuel trims. I'm going to just drive it through town here. Nice and easy here through the residentials first. And of course see what we're going to have happen here as far as the fuel trims go. And I can already see some activity that is going. So I'm sure that the system is trying to relearn all my driving habits and everything else. And I'm just doing about 20-25 mile an hour going through everything here. So nice little residential drive. And then I'll of course loop around once I get through the residential part of it, going into the higher speed area, 40, 45, and then of course I will hit a highway speed and get that drive cycle down. But also I am going to turn on my climate control because it is hot. Yes, I want some AC, so why not have it learn while you're doing the driving here for the AC and it running, because it is quite warm in here. There we go. Got some AC on finally. Tip over on the corners. It's pretty much how it's going to be, I guess. So we'll go ahead and these are about 45 mile an hour zones that I'm in right now. Pretty easy stuff. So we're getting up to about 50 mile an hour here on the main road going through the town, through the city. I'm not having any issues with the car wanting to stall or anything like that. Everything seems to be running pretty good. So don't see a whole lot of change in a lot of the numbers. They all look relatively the same. I'll compare them to the before settings and what they were before compared to what they are now, so we can determine did it make a difference. You know how much of a difference does it make? Don't know, but we'll determine what's going on here as far as the actual trims and everything else. I think once we get on the interstate we'll have a different reading. But I'm not getting on it too hard, letting it learn, adjust, whatever it needs to do as far as the PCM and the throttle body, transmission, everything that goes with that. So we're getting ready to get on to the interstate. And then we'll get some higher speed under our belts here and see what's going to happen on that aspect. Hang on to the camera while we go around the corner here. Okay, we're on the on-ramp. We're going to go ahead and see what this does to all our throttle trims and everything else. Get up to about 70 mile an hour. Kick it down a little. We're at 80% throttle. Now we're running about 38% throttle. Now we're leveled out to about 30. So doing 70 mile an hour, and of course our field trims and everything else are staying pretty steady. Not seeing a whole lot of changes. I'll go ahead and set the cruise control to see if that makes a difference. A little steadier reading anyway, as far as everything goes. .72 mile an hour on the cruise control, and again, as you can see, what our field trims are, is definitely the max differential is definitely staying at about 1594 now. It was going back and forth between 0, but now it's staying pretty steady. So I think it's doing something here, trying to keep up with everything. But quite frankly, you haven't really felt any difference in the shifting patterns or anything at that rate. So hopefully for folks, I think with a lot of work with really bad sensors, that may play into it. I don't know, but as with all things, we just gotta check it out and make sure that everything does work. I'm not seeing a big difference on our throttle body position 1 learn trim and the 2 learn trim. They haven't really changed too much. I was expecting there may be, but nothing really. Didn't see anything really change in that aspect. So definitely gonna have to review this video because don't see it right now. I was actually expecting more. I don't know what you guys are expecting, but I was expecting more. But I may not remember what the numbers were before, so maybe there is a change. Don't know. We'll wait and see. I'll compare videos, see what we got, and we'll go from there. This car sounds like a dump truck driving, don't it? This Edge has got 156,668 miles on it now. So getting up there. By the end of September, I'll be 160 something. So we're getting up to the next spark plug change in about another 25,000 miles or so. Time to change the plugs again. Wonder what I'll use. I probably use the same thing, Motorcraft, but no telling. Might even change the coils out. Don't know. Third set of plugs. Same coils. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see now. Gonna make a turn here, see if I can't dump the camera over at the same time. There we go. Made it. Nice gentle driving. Yes. Driving smooth. That's all I can tell you, folks. Driving smooth. Get back. We'll let her idle. See what we got from there. Well, that's it, folks. We went ahead and drove the Ford Edge around town on the interstate. Didn't experience really any type of faults, no bad idles, and of course I got all the information I captured on my screen capture of the FORScan throttle body. I covered all the different PIDs on it that were available, and of course we monitor those, and I will do of course a follow-on with this on the comparison of the before and the after. I don't quite remember what it was all doing before. I'll have to compare this video to the first one, and then of course I will be able to, maybe discern between what was good and bad and ugly and everything else. But right now I'm just not seeing anything that is out of the ordinary. Everything pretty much stayed the same. The TP1 Learn trim and number 1 and number 2 have not moved, okay, which is interesting. They've pretty much stayed right spot on. And of course the position, that's running about 16.8%. So it goes up and down, of course, with the AC turning on. So can't really tell either way on anything that's going on with this fuel trim or the throttle body. But hey, it was an interesting experiment, no less. And of course, hopefully y'all figured out something out of this thing, and of course how to discharge and your PCM and everything else to reset everything, back to a ground zero essentially. But I will tell you all, if you really truly want to get your PCM done right, you'll have to go to a Ford dealership, pay them the labor charge, whatever their hourly rate is. It shouldn't be that much, but they do have the ability to flash your PCM and load updated tweaks that have occurred to the systems since you bought your Edge. So if you got a 2011 like me and you've never taken it in and had it flashed, there's probably some data updates as far as shift positions and everything else that they've been tweaking, and it might be beneficial to you for maybe better fuel mileage, more optimal running conditions, things like that. So that really is what you want to aim for. So I would recommend that you do it. I really do need to get mine in there and have it done, because I think it really probably benefit from it. But that is pretty much it for right now. I'm going to have to make a closing statement later after I get all this information done. But for right now, we're just going to drop it at this point. I got some data that I've collected as far as it running in idle for a few minutes here, and we'll carry on. I'll get back with you as soon as I do the comparison. I do want to make one real quick note on confirmation that the PCM was reset. Did notice after I got done with all my video that when I went to go turn off my Edge, my battery saver message center illuminated. Now, the reason this would actually illuminate is because the PCM was drained, and thus it cleared the battery saver functions, which means that the battery saver has to set for about 8 hours to determine the voltage and everything else for the battery as far as whether it's good or not. So that is one thing that I did determine to verify that the PCM was in fact drained of all power. So if that battery saver light comes on, or message center comes on, that is a confirmation that it was, of course, drained. Now this will only happen with the 2011 plus models. It will not be for the 2007 through 2010 because they don't have that battery saver message center. So just a confirmation, it was drained, so I can verify it through the message from the battery saver function. Now looking at the photograph that I have here of the throttle body captures that are screen captures, on the left side of course you see before I reset the PCM, and then of course the throttle body PIDs after the reset of the PCM. You notice that on the left side basically is how it was, and in comparison when you look at the TP, a little bit higher on the after setting, at a 1294 compared to the 1255 on before. But virtually the throttle body position 1 is identical, and then of course you go to the throttle body position 1 learn trim, and there is about what, 12 in the difference as far as before and after. It's running just a little bit, I want to say faster in a way, but then we go to throttle body position 2, and that is almost virtually the same with no real change. And then of course the TP2 learn trim, again 12 to 13 difference on that. So the learn trims are 12, 13. Basically, I think this is a fine-tuning mode. I think as I drive it more, they'll come back down to the original learn trims, and as with the throttle body learning what it's doing, it's going to fine-tune itself, and eventually I bet if I check it, you know, in a month, it'll virtually be what this is originally. So the fine-tuning takes longer, but the initial settings are of course quite rapid, going of course back to the factory defaults. And as you can see, the throttle position B, basically the baseline compared to the throttle position actual and everything, you got a 1451 and we had a 1412 originally, and then of course there's no fault in the throttle body position. And then of course the TP REL, which I think is the, I'm not sure what that is, tell you the truth, but it's virtually the same also. And the max differential, the TP max differential, is a measure between the throttle body position sensors as far as if there's any difference between them. And you will notice that in the video as it was going, it was moving very dramatically quite a bit during its operation. I unfortunately did not have a drive time with the original one to compare it to see how much that would move. But basically, if you look at the throttle body positions and everything for the learn, that's really what we're looking at, and I think over time those will marry back up to the original ones before I reset. So anyway, you do have a baseline to compare your 2011 Ford Edge. I will not say that it will compare to a 2007 through 10, but hey, every little bit of information helps, and of course now we have something documented as to what we're looking for a good running Ford Edge. Again, there was no problems with this, so this would be a good baseline to determine, hey, do I have a problem? So that being said, we'll go ahead and do our closeout. Well folks, that is pretty much it. Did finish up everything with the of course the battery disconnect, draining the PCM. Like I said, point taken, battery saver came on, so that's a good indicator that it did drain the system. That battery saver would not have turned on to reset if I hadn't drained it. So we got that done, and of course the throttle body position, you got the real-time data folks on what it is doing and trying to relearn. Granted, it's very small detail. I think the factory settings go right to it once you start up, and then it fine-tunes itself over time, and that fine-tuning is literally thousandths. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of relearning to go on there, but I could see in a Ford Edge with bad TSS OS sensors, there's a larger window of learned bad habits that this could probably really help in resetting to help adjust things and of course make it run better. And then of course a new throttle body install. If you put a new one in, you're going to experience this also. You're going to have to go through that relearn procedure. So don't slap it in and think you're going to head down the road real quick. It's going to have to adjust itself and of course make those accommodations. But that being said, whatever you do, go over here to that Facebook. Okay, slap that button and say I like it, and then join the group, and that way you can become part of the group and part of the solution too, because we got a lot of participatory members now sharing knowledge, and the more knowledge we share, the less we have to pay to fix our cars, right? Our Edge can be repaired in our driveway at home, and a lot of things can be done to save those nickels, right? So we want to make sure we do that, and by all means, we are quickly becoming the garage of the Edge to actually help people get things fixed. I mean, really, transmission repairs off of the Facebook to help people do jobs they didn't think they could do before. And then of course this YouTube channel, remember, hit that subscribe button. Don't be shy, punch it, join the YouTube channel, and of course subscribe. And whatever you do, you want to make sure that you get those notifications when I put out that new video, right? That way you can go right to it and watch it. But as with all things, this morning on this wonderful Labor Day, I wish all American workers and everyone for building everything everywhere a great Labor Day weekend. And of course, enjoy that barbecue and family. But my feet hit the floor this morning, so I'm happy and I'm very glad for the day. And I want you to be glad for the day too when your feet hit the floor. So, that being said, Mercy Grill is going to pop a couple of one-liners at you. And of course, enjoy the music. With the bead blast, that's definitely what it's going to be. I'll definitely do this, do a lot, but the bead blast will of course take care of the rest of the stuff that I got to do. But, looking like it's all coming.